Hello and welcome back. So far we've built a basic two-column layout, and along the way you've learned the basics of how Flexbox works. In this lesson you'll learn how to edit a layout for responsive so it looks good at all screen sizes. We're currently in desktop mode, and as you know, styles that you set on large screens trickle down to smaller screens. So right now, if we go to tablet, yep, it doesn't look like it's changed much, I know. That is because, although you maybe can't tell, I have my screen zoomed in a huge amount when I'm recording my videos, or you just wouldn't be able to see the interface properly. And the level that I'm zoomed in at makes the desktop screen size in bricks almost at tablet mode anyway. So just to say that the responsive modes in my videos in this course are not going to look quite like yours, but that's okay. Anyway, well, the H2 heading has got a bit smaller because we already set that in the theme style typography settings in the last module. You can see up here, by the way, the screen width it's displaying at in pixels, and by default, it's set at the very top end of the breakpoint that you're viewing. So here, that's 990, and if I hover over, you can see the next breakpoint doesn't kick in till we get down to 767. I think this side-by-side two-column layout still looks fine at 990, but what about a smaller tablet, like 800 pixels? I personally think that's started to look a bit odd now. The column widths are now pretty squished. So I'm going to take the decision to stack the columns on top of each other on tablet and downwards. And that'll look fine on larger tablets as well. That means we need to change the flex direction of the columns from horizontal to vertical. As you'll hopefully remember, we need to edit the parent element of the columns again, the container, and then we just change the direction from horizontal to vertical, and that's better, I think. Now you can see with the columns stacked on top of each other, they also need a gap between them, like they did when they were horizontal. There's no gap here. Yes, on desktop we set column gap. That's the gap between columns when they're side by side, but when they're on top of each other, like they are now, we need row gap. That puts a gap between each row, or each of the child elements that we're affecting. So we'll select the container again, the parent of the columns. You see, I told you get plenty of practice. Here's row gap. I could add it here. Let's go 2.5 rem, just like on desktop, because our container left and right padding on tablet is 2.5 rem, if you recall from the theme style lesson. Now these gaps are equal and the spacing looks nice and consistent. However, I could instead have actually just set row gap on desktop instead at the same time as we set column gap, and that would then trickle down to tablet anyway. In fact, let's do that just to show you that you can. So I'll click the red X to lose the row gap setting on tablet, back up to desktop. I'll set row gap here on desktop, same as column gap. It has zero effect here, of course, because we don't have any rows, but now back to tablet again. And you can see that that setting is now being inherited from desktop here. Later, when we use classes to manage our gaps, setting them both on desktop will make things a little bit easier. Okay, that's great. Now, mobile landscape. Don't forget, you can toggle between responsive modes with the keyboard shortcut, Control-B or Command-B. I like the look of that too. Now, if you recall, for our left and right container padding, we dropped that down to 2 rem on mobile screens, again in the last module. Well, here on mobile, let's also drop the row gap to match 2 rem. And although we don't have any side-by-side columns here, let's just make the column gap 2 rem as well anyway, just for consistency. Again, we'll be automating all of this with classes later on. It's just a manual process for now. And into portrait. Very nice. What if we wanted, say, on any of these responsive modes, we wanted to swap the order of the two columns, so the text column on top, the image column below. You know, the reason the column with the image is showing first is because it's first in the structure. See? But what if we wanted to swap the order here? Flex can do that. So once again, with the parent of the column selected in direction, note we have vertical, horizontal, and reverse. Hit reverse. Et voila, the columns are reversed. Visually on screen anyway. The content structure, of course, remains the same. Now I'm going to lose that reverse because I like the image being first. But if you want to reverse the order of the content on any responsive mode, now you know how. That's it for responsive editing for now. So I'm going to pop back to desktop, then Command S on Mac or Control S if you're on Windows, just to save our changes. And now it's your turn to attend to any responsive edits that you want to make. So add the 2.5 rem row gap on desktop. That'll affect desktop and tablet. And then a 2 rem row gap for mobile. Also have a play with reversing the column order. And next we'll create another section layout. This time we're going to take a more manual approach. I'll see you there soon.